That picture doesn't look alive. That's some other picture there, Prashant. That's not me doing that.
And on the live thing,
That
don't worry.
doesn't look alive. That's some other picture there, Prashant. That's not me doing that.
Bhante, yeah, I can take care of it. Can you close that window?
On the live thing,
That
don't worry.
doesn't look alive. That's some other picture there, Prashant. That's not me doing that.
Bhante, yeah, I can take care of it. Can you close that window?
On the live thing,
What?
don't worry.
Doesn't look alive. That's some other picture there, Prashant. That's not me. How do I close that?
Bhante, yeah, I can take care of it. Can you close that window?
On the live thing,
What?
don't worry.
Doesn't look alive. That's some other picture there, Prashant. That's not me. How do I close?
Bhante, can you close that YouTube window? I muted you. Can you Bhante, can you close that YouTube window and then unmute yourself so that we can stop the echo? You may want to unmute yourself, Bhante. I have muted you. Bhante, I cannot hear you because I have muted you.
Okay, I've unmuted myself now.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Bhante, I cannot hear you because I have muted you. Bhante, you may have to close the YouTube window behind it.
How do I do that? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Bhante, I cannot hear you
gotta go to,
because
How do I close it? I don't know how to close it.
we can hear you fine. Bhante, I cannot hear you
gotta go to,
because
Can you hear me now, Prashant?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, friends, we're going to go ahead and let me get on. Should I spotlight it?
I can do it for you, Bhante.
Okay, friends, let's go ahead and start with reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening's Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So this evening we're going to continue looking at, studying the dependent origination, the paticca samuppada, but specifically in on focusing on the 5 important links of the paticca samuppada that deal with the continuation and the accumulation of karma, in this present life, because the paticca samuppada, dependent origination, there's 2 aspects of it. One describes a lifetime to lifetime process of how the mind gets reborn from leaving one life and gets reborn into another life according to the karma. But the deeper level of paticca samuppada is actually the moment-to-moment process. That those 12 links of dependent origination are kind of occurring in each moment of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, and thinking. And so these 5 links are especially the sort of critical links in terms of the Dhamma practice, of how we can change, or you could say purify, our thoughts, speech, and actions that we accumulate in this life, accumulating, unwholesome karmic conditions in this life. So those 5 factors are feeling, craving, grasping, becoming, and birth. So I want to explain these. I have done before in previous talks several times, but some of you may not have heard that, or anyway, it needs to be, understood or studied over and over again because it's really where our life is. Our whole life, what we know as our life now, revolves around feeling, craving, grasping, becoming, and the mind being reborn in the next moment. And that's one of the most difficult aspects of the paticca samuppada to understand. And so, we've already been born in this life. And whatever age that you are, you've reached so far, what is occurring, of course, we have contacts, but there's no much way that you can't do anything about contacts. Contacts are going to happen as long as your senses are working. But feeling is our first experience of the world. Let's say if sleeping at night and all of a sudden you wake up in the morning, maybe your alarm clock goes off in the morning. And so, that startles you, and you wake up with a start, and then you realize you got up late, your alarm clock didn't work, and then you have a painful feeling that, oh my, I'm going to be late for work. So, that kind of unpleasant feeling that you overslept, you're going to be late for work or disappoint somebody, arises. And then that will trigger off the desire to, to get up, to actually, the craving or the desire to get up. And then maybe you decided, well, maybe I don't want to get up so early. Maybe I don't need to get up so early. So you start thinking about it. Should I turn over for another 2 minutes, get another 2 minutes sleep or 5 minutes sleep, and you go back and forth, pros and cons. And so that's the grasping. That means that's the continual thinking about that particular, experience, a situation that's come up. And then you make a decision. Either you're going to sleep for a few more minutes or just stay in bed for a few more minutes, or you're going to get up and, start getting ready for the day's, activity. So that the grasping or clinging is the continual thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to react. And then you actually react. That means you get off the bed and stand up. So you defeated that tendency to be lazy. And so you got up in order to prepare yourself in time to do what you need to do. And so you sort of weaken that habit of being lazy and wanting to sleep in more. And so the habit of, and then you see the benefit of getting up. And so that will strengthen your desire to get up the next time. I know this is a very kind of, maybe not the most appropriate example, but so the strengthening of the habit is the birth. That means it's going to be born the next time a similar situation happens. It'll be born again. And so I'll just use some other examples. Let's say, a fly lands on you. You're sitting and meditating. And then you hear a sound of a fly, or you feel some insect crawling on your skin. You couldn't prevent that really, because that just happens. But so an unpleasant feeling arises in you. And then you identify, oh, that's a fly walking on me, or an ant. And, it's producing an unpleasant feeling. Whether it's a physical feeling, it's irritating, and also a mental feeling. And then you have the desire to get rid of it. So that's initial craving. The initial desire or aversion that arises is the initial, what we call initial craving. But then you go on thinking about it again, pros and cons. Should I really itch it or should I not? And you can apply your right understanding. Well, that itch is not a big deal. And, and if I immediately scratch it, then that's going to increase the habit of aversion and increase the sense of myself that I don't like it. So it's going to increase those types of cravings and aversions. But if you decided not to do it, and you didn't scratch it, and you just observe it and say, yeah, it's not too bad, just let it be there. And after a few minutes or so, it disappears by itself. And you just, you didn't give in to the urge to remove it. And so you weaken that rush to get rid of the unpleasant feeling that wasn't necessary to waste your energy trying to scratch or worry about something that's not that important. Because many of the things that have happened to us in our life, irritations and reactions that we do, are things that are, a lot of them are not really that important. And we just do them out of habit, or because we have a very low pain tolerance, and so on. Like getting upset with somebody who's talking with you, for example, wanting to say something to them, to be quiet or something else. So you learn to build up patience and tolerance. Anyway, and so those habits, whenever you repeat a good habit, there's a tendency for it to be repeated again the next time. And whenever you repeat a habit of wanting to get away from something, then you increase the potential for repeating that and to increase the potential for letting these minor irritations, bug you and cause you to, waste your energy reacting to things that are not really that important. So, and so for the tendency for them not to be born again in the future, or to be, the birth means the repetition of the habit, the same habit in the future. We're talking about, and also the sense of self is reborn in the next moment. Because we have the idea that, oh, I won, I got rid of that unpleasant feeling, or I got I got what I wanted. So those things increase the sense of self, and that's what the bhava is, the upadana paccaya bhava, becoming gives rise to birth and the sense of self. And it's that sense of self that leaves our body and is reborn in a future life at the time of death also. So anyway, I hope you're able to kind of, understand that process. So actually, the most, out of all those links, those 5 links, feeling, craving, grasping, becoming, and birth, the becoming and the grasping are probably the 2 most important ones, where we practice the Dhamma, like in your meditation practice, or either also in your daily life. Whenever you notice there's some desire to do or to get something of a pleasurable nature, or to not do it, or to get away from something of a painful nature, that is the initial craving. And then that's when you have to apply your right understanding, where you have to investigate the Dhamma, the pros and cons of either doing that action or not doing the action. And that's where where choices have to be made. And that will be dependent on your level of mindfulness and right understanding. So the initial craving, we also can't prevent that from arising, because desires and aversions arise because of our past conditioning. This is what's important to understand. You can't get rid of craving, really. You can't get rid of craving, but you can minimize grasping. So probably the most important link in our in the way we practice Dhamma is the link between the craving and that turning into grasping. And if you can't weaken the grasping, then you have a chance of preventing the action at the becoming. So these 3 areas, craving, grasping, and becoming, are where we really practice the Dhamma, where the practice of Dhamma really operates, especially in terms of, let's say, the precepts, the urge to tell a lie, the urge to, use some inappropriate speech, or any of the other precepts. The initial craving, you can't really do much about it, but you can observe it and not allow it to turn into grasping. And if you learn how to observe the craving and relax around it and and sort of see, well, I don't really need to do that right now. And you have enough patience, or you have enough metta, then that doesn't turn into the grasping of it. But if you don't have that kind of mindfulness to observe irritating body sensations, or to observe irritating sounds and irritating thoughts, that's where the mindfulness is important, because it helps you to watch those things without immediately reacting. And that's where you can delay the transition from craving to grasping. So the grasping is a continual thinking about, should I do it, should I not do it? And, I'll die if I don't get that object, or, the mind is scheming and manipulating and posturing and being self-defensive, and all of it's, 90% of our thoughts are included in grasping, in that process of grasping, until we make a decision to do that or not to do it. So even changing your posture in meditation, pain comes up, and you can see that unpleasant feeling, pain in your legs, or pain in your neck, or any place. And you can think, well, I'll just endure this pain and, a little bit longer. I don't need to really move. It's not that bad. And you'll be happy with yourself if you learn to endure it another minute, maybe before changing. But if if you give into it too soon, then that means you had a fear of that pain, and you strengthen the sense of yourself. So it's important to have this kind of understanding and apply this analyzing toward the situations as they are happening in your mind, in your body and mind. And then hopefully be able to delay the reaction process. And then those thoughts may just vanish by themselves. And you can carry on your meditation. And then they won't be born again in the future, or at least a tendency for them to cause you to do something that you don't want to do will be weakened for the future. And so that's the way that you can see that not being born again, in terms of that moment-to-moment process. So I usually, the Buddha's teaching of the Four Noble Truths, right? The second noble truth is saying that craving is the cause of suffering. And people think, oh, I have to give up all desire and all craving. I mean, how can I do that? Have a family to raise and all kind of other things. And, so I tell people, don't worry about craving. Worry about grasping, because grasping is what leads to the becoming, the actual committing of the karmic action. So it's the grasping that we try to, to work on weakening. Because only when you're able to gradually reduce the becoming toward doing negative actions and reduce the thinking about all those things, is gradually the craving itself will gradually get weaker and weaker. But you can't really do it just by forcing yourself to give up desires or aversions. They have to be kind of weakened in a systematic way. And this is the way that the Buddha taught how to weaken these things, by observing precepts first, and that's the way of stopping becoming. So most of the suffering and problems that we have are due to our guilt, worry, remorse, and fear, or repeating our bad habits and then having to reap the results of those of our actions. And so the precepts help you to prevent yourself from actually doing the becoming, but the grasping may still be there. You still, like you take the precept not to kill. So when a fly's landed on your face or something, and you see that urge to want to, to swat that fly, you raise up your hand, and then at the last minute you said, no, I'm not gonna kill that fly, and you kind of force yourself to bring your hand down, or you force yourself not to tell the lie. But you would have liked to, right? But at least by forcing yourself not to do it, you're not actually going to do the action that would cause the actual karmic repercussion or to come back to you. But the thoughts are still there. So that's why just practicing the precepts by themselves is not enough. Because there's a chance if you lose your mindfulness, that becoming can then transfer, or the grasping can then transition to the becoming or the action. So the precepts help you to prevent becoming, the negative becoming, the actual karmic actions. The grasping helps to reduce your thoughts about it. All the thoughts and the negative thoughts that go in, and scheming and planning and excuses and everything else that's trying to make you do that action, that unwholesome action, or repeat the bad habit. So this is where actually sila, samadhi, and panya play their important parts. Practice of sila helps to reduce negative becoming. And the cultivating of wisdom and patience and loving kindness is positive becoming. That means you're cultivating positive habits that are going to help to weaken the negative becoming. And also the painful births that will arise because of that painful becoming. So it is the samadhi that helps to reduce the thoughts about it. So, when you develop your concentration, if you're able to attain the jhanas, or at least to reduce the momentum of your thoughts, then that is weakening the becoming. You're no longer thinking about trying to remove that itch, because you understand the itch is going to go away by itself in a couple minutes, or it's going to change. That irritating sound that's going on in the background, that's also, will stop. There's no need to go over and shout at somebody to shut up or to do something else. As you reduce your thoughts, when you attain the jhanas, your thinking stops. So that is how you minimize the grasping. So thoughts are connected with the grasping. Becoming is connected with our actions. Thoughts are connected with grasping. And then the craving itself are the deeper sort of subconscious urges that are just waiting there under the surface to come up. Like when you smell a sound, all of a sudden, you're quite content, but all of a sudden there's a nice smell comes by, like of a pastry, and then that triggers off a desire to, go to have a sweet or something. I mean, this is just a typical example. Or to scratch an itch. So but if you're deeply concentrated, you won't be irritated by those things, and the thoughts to the grasping those things won't arise. So it's only the wisdom, once you attain the levels of stream entry, once returning, never returning in the higher stages, that is where you actually work on overcoming craving. Craving is only eliminated at the stage of the sotapanna, or even the once returner, if you understand the deeper teachings on those 10 fetters that I've talked several times in the past about. So therefore, don't worry too much about craving. Focus on grasping. That means our obsessive thoughts, compulsive and excessive thoughts about the objects that you want to react to. And that will then help to minimize the actual committing of that karmic action. So, but again, they're all triggered off by feelings. That's why in the mindfulness practice, the mindfulness of the body is to help you to get grounded in the body so that you can observe at least the irritating or painful body sensations that are arising. But once you've developed some mindfulness and concentration in the body, it allows you to endure and observe those painful sensations or itches or other annoying sensations because you've created that buffer zone that I've often talked about of mindfulness. And you can observe that urge to want to scratch or move, but you can say, it's not really that bad. Let me not move. Let me just, stay still and develop my concentration. And then you'll forget about those painful sensations or irritations, or they'll go away by themselves, or could just recede into the background, and you'll be able to continue your meditation, and you'll get a lot more happy about that. So this is how we actually use, the paticca samuppada, because we can observe that process occurring moment by moment from feeling, craving, grasping, and then if it turns into becoming, then the becoming. But the important part is, from to observe the feelings and the initial craving or desire that arises. And only then, if you have enough concentration, it may not turn into grasping. But if you don't have enough concentration, that's why the concentration is important. Concentration helps to close the gap between craving and grasping. Because again, it's the thoughts. The grasping are the thoughts about the object. And when you gain concentration, your thoughts are reduced or minimized because of the power of that concentration, where you can apply the right understanding and so on. So that's what I wanted to, point out, which is really the very practical application of the paticca samuppada. A lot of people read the paticca samuppada and think it's just some pie in the sky theory or something like that, But, it's not. It's something that's, directly visible here and now if you focus your attention inside and observe it, and see how it's the mind that's getting caught up in these repetitive habit patterns and so on. So, friends, having said that much, now I'd like to open it up to any questions that you may have. You can raise your yellow hand. I don't see any. Is there anything in the chat box? Sean, I don't see the chat box here. Prashant.
Yes, there is a question not related to paticca samuppada, but
I can't see my chat box on my computer.
it should be next to the participants.
No, it's missing on my computer.
No, just scroll down with your mouse. Maybe it might come.
No. Here. Can you read the chat box? Is there anything in it?
Sure, Bhante.
I can't see the little icon for the chat box.
Okay. See if anything comes up. Can you see from there?
There's one question, and
Yeah.
Prashant just sent a test message.
Yeah, okay. Cannot see it, right? Okay, Bhante. Bhante, so this is a question.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it? Yeah. Bhante, proving karma theory, which is good acts leads to good results and bad acts leads to bad results, seems difficult.
It seems difficult.
To prove karma theory, because to prove that good leads to good and bad leads to bad. And actually proving karma theory is is much easier. Rather, proving karma theory that it is wrong is much easier. For example, if bad guy beats and robs a good guy who doesn't want fighting, then bad guy gets the money and good guy is left with no money.
Yeah, but the cops might come and arrest that bad guy with the money and put him in jail.
Right. But at that particular instant, the bad deed resulted in good, and good deed resulted in a bad outcome.
Well, the results of karma are not always immediate. You know, in a lot of cases, sure, people get away with crimes, but 90% of the time they wind up getting caught. And then they're going to suffer a lot more. And good people, even though they might, experience suffering now, but if they continue their, good actions, they'll, get it at a later time, even in a future life. Now, I know people may not believe that, but they're only looking at this one-sidedly. Okay, stand outside a Walmart or Home Depot or any store, and somebody comes out and curse them or spit in their face. See what they'll do. Okay? Somebody might pull out a gun and shoot you. Now, is that a result of your bad action? Or if he were to shoot you, he might punch you in the face or any number of other things. So, or you can compliment somebody, and see if they not smile. It would make you happy. So, we have to look at karma in a more practical way and, see the true aspects of it. Some of it, the Buddha actually gave a sutta, a teaching on this, that there was a person that came to the Buddha and said, I don't believe in karma because I had a relative who did a lot of bad things in his life. And when he died, one of the monks who had psychic power said, oh, that person was actually born in a Devaloka. And so how could that be? He was an evil person. And then he said, and I had another relative who was good and do good things all his life, or her life, and another person who had psychic power, where even the Buddha had said, well, that person would have been born as an animal or in a woeful state. And he said, well, and that's why I don't believe in karma, he said. And then the Buddha said, no, we can't judge it on that because karma is so deep that the person who does a lot of bad in this life could have done a lot of good in a previous life. And so that could take precedent over what he had done in this life. Now, people who don't believe in rebirth, then they're going to have more difficulty with the law of karma. But because we can see, but we can see people who seem to be getting away with stuff, but in the end, it's going to come back to them, even in this life itself, 95% of the time. So, there's always going to be some exceptions of the rule, but we should see it in terms of the general, application of that law of karma.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is, what role does skillful action and wise attention play in?
Oh, actually, now I do see I got my chat box.
Okay.
Okay, I see that, yeah. What role does skillful action and wise attention play and minimize the fruit of becoming? Well, this comes back to in the Noble Eightfold Path, the three pillars of the Noble Eightfold Path are right understanding, right mindfulness, and right effort. So these are what have to be continually applied to minimize the negative fruit of becoming and also to increase positive becoming. So wise attention is basically the right understanding. So when something happens, you have to apply right understanding or wise attention to it. And that is the right understanding. And then you have to be mindful and to mindfully do the opposite of the negative action and to do the skillful action. And that's the right effort. So the right understanding and right mindfulness and right effort have to be employed in minimizing the negative becoming as well as the positive becoming. So they absolutely have an important role in minimizing the negative becoming. Yeah, because without that right understanding, like if you don't believe in a karma, it's not going to be, okay, I tell a lie, no one's going to care, but then, next year somebody's going to find out you told a lie and, you wind up, getting the consequences of it and so many other things. So, how does the circle of these habits differ from trained routine and sensible? How does the circle of these habits differ from trained routine? Yeah, we train ourselves to cultivate the wholesome habits. And you can't do both at the same time. So you can't really be doing an unwholesome habit at the time you're doing a wholesome habit and vice versa. So the more we train, and you have to train yourself, like train yourself to get up earlier in the morning to meditate every morning. If you don't have that habit, if you have that habit of, always wanting to just turn over and sleep longer because you don't see the benefit of doing early morning meditation. But once you start doing it and you're seeing the benefits of it, so you're training a positive, a wholesome routine. And so it helps to minimize the negative ones. Or to practice the M&Ms. I mean, that to me was the most sensible and powerful way of cultivating mindfulness in daily life is practicing the M&Ms. If you can really do that religiously every hour, stopping for a minute, pausing, coming back to the present moment, reflecting on what you're doing, forgiving yourself or forgiving somebody else for having done something in that previous hour, or send out metta. So these habits help to reduce the negative habits. So it's all about habits. But the good habits lead to good results. So-called bad habits lead to, more painful results. But sometimes it takes time. Is birth the culmination of action? The birth is the karma that's going to fuel the future action. So it's like every time you put gasoline into your gas tank, then you're going to allow the car to keep on going more, right? Now, if you stop putting gas in the gas tank and it runs out of gas, and the car is going to stop. So imagine a car is, just your body and mind, your body. We're doing actions. And the more we put in negative, if you put in low octane gas, bad gas, and that'll cause problems, if you put in the negative actions, that's going to accumulate in painful results in the future. The painful results in the future is the birth or the rebirth of those habits. So yes, birth is the accumulation of the action. That's right, the results of the action. Like you're going to be, if you go on stealing, let's say a thief starts stealing when they're young or a young child, maybe innocent things, stealing a candy bar from the, store, and then they get away with it, and then they go on to bigger things and bigger things. They may get away with it for a while, but because they keep on going, at some point they're going to get caught and then, be put into jail. So their birth is being born in jail or getting shot by a storekeeper. Now storekeepers are carrying guns, right? And they're shooting people that try to rob the store. So, thieves better be careful. Or they'll be born, they're going to cause their next life. If they're shot and killed, they're going to be born, in another life quite soon. So that's the result of their negative action. Doing nothing, all things are accomplished. Not necessarily. That's wishful thinking. Ultimately, yes, in the only for an arhat where there's no doer. But as long as there's a doer, there's an ego behind the action, then there's going to be doing and there's going to be results of it. But only an arhat can actually do nothing because there's no doer. He's overcome, transcended the ego. So only for an arhat they could say that. Not anybody else.
How about Lao Tzu? Was he?
I don't care about Lao Tzu. I follow the Buddha, not Lao Tzu.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I think he beat them.
No, you have to understand these phrases that a lot of enlightened people say, but most people who spout these things, they're not at that level to really understand them. They like to say these things, but they don't really understand it at the deeper levels. It sounds good, but in a practical thing, it's not practical until you have reached the stage of an arhat. Because if you say do nothing, don't meditate, don't do any good, don't stop lying, they're still doing things, but they think they're doing nothing, but they're still doing the negative things.
Wu Wei, baby.
Anyway, friends, I think we're going to stop here because we want to still have enough time to get in a good meditation period, okay? So I just want to repeat
There's a brief question. You can answer it yes and no. Is dependent origination applicable to beings in immaterial plane of existence?
well, they're going to attain enlightenment from that plane if they're an anagami. But I don't think many people are in an immaterial plane of existence, so don't worry about it. Don't ask hypothetical questions. But you create the becoming to be born in an immaterial plane of existence. So that's still part of the dependent origination, and your mind is going to fall out of that state at some point, unless you're an anagami and you're going to attain full enlightenment from that state. But not everybody does. You can attain an immaterial plane and stay there for 50,000 years, but you might fall out of that back to a human being again and go on in independent origination. Okay, friends. So, thanks for your questions. I'm not sure if I got into all of them, but keep studying and observing, and a lot of these questions can be resolved once you've developed, a deeper understanding of that, and develop deeper levels of mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a few minutes break, come back, do some stretches, and then have our meditation, okay? See you back in a few minutes.
Sadhu Bhante.
Okay, so just stand straight, relax your arms at the sides, gently close your eyes. Try to feel the outline of the standing body. If you can't feel that, at least feel your feet pressing the floor. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to breathe in, drawing the air all the way up to the upper lungs and chest. Hold the air in for 2 seconds and slowly breathe out. Take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, developing this mindfulness of breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to begin the movements. So on the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, stretch the head back, stretch the arms upwards, look up at the back of the hand, stretch upwards. The out-breath, turn the palms down, touch the top of the head. Again, in-breath, palms up, straighten the arms. Bend back a little bit, stretch. Out breath, touch the head. Once more, in breath. Hold that upward stretch longer, bend back a little more. Feel the sensation. And release the fingers. Out breath, hands back to the sides. Let's close the eyes. Try to feel the outline of the standing body, the head on top, arms at the sides, clothing touching the skin, feet pressing the floor. Try to feel all or some of those different body sensations. Just letting your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just remember standing, standing, standing. On the next in-breath, lift up on the toes and the arms over the head in this way, facing the hands toward each other, and stretch up. Out breath, come back down. Use the in-breath to help lift up the body. Out. In. out. Keep remembering standing, standing. Just letting go of the grasping thought. Okay, next we'll do the side bending. So on the in-breath, raise both arms up. And keep the fingers and arms straight, close to the head. Out breath, bend over the right side. Keep the arms parallel to each other like railroad track. Feel a stretch to the side. In-breath, lift up. Then the other side, out breath. In-breath up. Into the right, out breath. Feel all the sensation. Once more to each side. Out breath, relax, lower the arms. Close the eyes, feel the outline of the body. Remember standing, standing. Don't let the mind get carried away in grasping thought. And now spread the legs apart about 3 feet. Hold the arms out at the sides. Do twisting from right to left. Breathe in. The out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. In breath, back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body. Then twist to the left side, out breath. In breath, front. Just keep alternating sides with the breathing. Once more to each side. And lower the arms. Close the eyes, feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel that sensation of the legs spread apart, clothing of your trousers, touching the skin of the legs. Feel the hands touching the sides, arms hanging from the shoulders, clothing touching the chest and arms, head balanced on top, eyes in the socket. Feel that silhouette outline of the body exactly as it is, like looking into a mirror. Feel all the subtle body movements, sensations. Present moment, body-centered awareness. Now place the hands together at the chest. Breathe in, hands over the head. With the out breath, lower the hands to the chest, bend the knees, lower the body down. Try to keep the back upright. Feel the stretch in the knees and hips. The in-breath, lift all the way back up, hands over the head. The out breath, lower down. Come down a little more. In. Out. In. Out breath, arms back to the sides. Let's close the eyes, feel the outline of the body. Feel the increased heartbeat, other sensations, pulsations, body movements. Present moment, body-centered awareness. Then we do the forward and backward bending. Let the hands touch the front of your legs. Keep the feet spread apart. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Keep your head lifted up. Let the hands come down to your knees the first time. Try to flatten the spine. The head lifted up, looking out straight. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. Let the head go back. On the out breath, gently bend backwards. Keep the eyes open. Feel the arch in the spine. In breath, carefully lift up. And again, Out breath, let the hands come down below your knees. You'll keep the head lifted up, looking out straight ahead. Feel the extra stretch in the back of your legs. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. In breath, lift up. Again, the back bend, just be careful. Out breath. In. The third time, let the hands come down as far as you can towards your feet. And hold on to your lower legs, your ankles or feet. Feel the extra stretch in the back of the legs. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. And lift up on an in breath. Then once more the out breath, gently bend back. In breath, lift up. On the out breath, relax your shoulders and arms. Close the eyes. Feel the outline of the whole body. Now bring your legs, feet back together. Just one last exercise, the head turning from right to left. And the in-breath, turn your head to the right. Look over your right shoulder. Out breath, turn the head all the way back to the left. And look over the left shoulder. In-breath, right? Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Feeling it loosening up. Out breath left. In, right. Out, left. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the middle. Keep feeling the whole body, subtle life force vibrations. Start to feel that organic aliveness of the body, the activated cellular vibrations. Present moment, body-centered awareness. The real starting point for being able to clearly observe the paticca samuppada, sensations, craving, grasping. Okay, so let's come back to our seats, get ready for the sitting awareness. Turn those lights off. Friends, just try to sit straight. Align your spine and head in a straight line. Just try to center your attention behind the eyes. Feel the outline of the sitting posture. Feel the head on top, the arms at the sides, hands touching together, clothing touching the skin. Feel the buttocks pressing the seat. Feel the legs tucked underneath the feet and toes. And just remember the present moment of sitting. And begin some deep, slow breathing again, taking 2 or 3 seconds to expand the abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 seconds. And slowly breathe out, feeling the last bit of air go out of the lung. Take several more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath in for 1 second. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. So breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to count the breaths from 1 to 10. Try to develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing and concentration. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath for 1 or 2 seconds. And with the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. And the next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. out 9, in 10, out 10. Now discontinue the counting, so let your breathing return to its shorter, uncontrolled, irregular rhythm. Continue to feel it, to observe it. Keep the attention focused in the center of the body. Feel the residual expanding and contracting movement. Start to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of the stomach, rib cage, and chest as it expands and contracts. Just knowing when the breath is coming in, and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling those sensations. Be like a scientist looking down through a microscope, observing the experiment of breathing. Just tune into the 4 phases of each breath cycle. The expanding in-breath and the brief pause. The contracting out breath and the brief pause. Just over and over and over again. To help stay focused, you can use these brief mental reminders. In sitting. Out, sitting. In sitting. Out, sitting. Breath by breath, moment by moment. There's brief pauses between the breaths. Feel the outline of the sitting body. Check the posture. Keep the chin lifted up. Keep the spine straight but relaxed. An alert body equals an alert mind. Letting your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the sensations of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. In sitting. Out, sitting. By observing the breathing body, you're practicing the mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of the posture. Feeling those different sensations, you're aware of the different sensations. The body is just the four elemental vibration, cellular vibration. This breathing keeps this body alive. The heartbeat sending out oxygenated blood to all the cells. The more you can think or feel that process, deeper concentrated you'll be. And be aware of any unpleasant or painful sensations that are arise. Be aware of the mind's reaction to them with desire or aversion. Or further thinking, grasping them. By observing all those different sensations are constantly changing, even the painful or irritating sensation, if you observe them a few seconds, have patience, they'll change and disappear. Prevent becoming. Be alert for thoughts trying to sneak in, to steal your attention away. Keep refocusing, centering in the breathing body. Try to observe how each breath is different, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes it's an easy breath, sometimes a difficult breath. The pauses between the breaths may be longer or shorter. Observing all those things keeps the mind concentrated. Mind gets a little dull or too many thoughts. Come back and do some deep, slow breathing. Help stay more awake, centered in the body. And especially be alert for any unpleasant or irritating sensation. Observe the urge to want to move the body. Craving or aversion. especially with each out breath. Feel the body and mind relaxing more and more into the present moment. Feeling more and subtler vibration. Noticing the subtle stream of thoughts moving in the unconscious mind. In sitting, out, sitting. So many different sensations come and go. Pleasure or pain come and go. Sounds come and go. Thoughts, emotions, ideas come and go. Thoughts of I, me, and mine come and go. This is just a continual process of the five aggregates and their flow of impermanence, the process of feeling, craving, grasping, becoming, occurring moment by moment. Just try to become like an empty house with nobody at home to answer all these knockings on the doors and windows. That process occurring over and over again under its own power of habit. Allow that habit of I, me, and mine fade away. The rebirth of ego consciousness, moment by moment. Just let it fade away. What thoughts arise based on that sound contact? What feelings or desires arise or aversion? Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukhi Esamaggo visuddhiya. All conditioned things, the five aggregates of this body, mind, and world are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last, then change and vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to freedom. And thus spoke the Buddha. Now place your hands at the edge of the knees. Take one more deep breath as you breathe in. Stretch your head back. Pull the hands on your knees to arch the spine backward. Lift the head up on an in-breath, and on the out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest to stretch the neck vertebrae. Lift the head up level on an in-breath. Relax on the out-breath. I invite you to chant the word sadhu 3 times, if you like, with me, to feel those vibrations in the body and mind. Do the chanting on a long out breath. Take a deep breath. Okay, friends. So I don't have anybody to turn the lights on here, so you don't need to see. So I hope you all were able to have a good meditation. And as a reminder that next week, or for the next 2 weeks at least, I won't be having this Zoom program because I'll be away going to Brazil, and I won't have probably the opportunity, or I'll be busy doing other things, and so won't be able to conduct this class. But I encourage you to re-listen to some of the pre-recorded or the past Dhamma talks on YouTube, or listen to some other programs that by other monastics or other Dhamma programs, and I think on the mailing I sent out last week, there's here at Bhavana Society, there's going to be a visiting monk, a Venerable Jayasara, who used to live at Bhavana Society. He's going to be staying here for 2 months, the time that I'm gone. And he's going to be conducting some 2 Zoom retreats during that time over Zoom. So, you could take advantage of that if you like. But anyway, try to keep up your meditation practice. And hopefully I'll be back after February 24th. I'll be back here for about 10 days, so I should be able to do at least get in a Zoom program during that time before I leave on another trip to California. So anyway, I wish you all the best until then. So be well, be safe, be mindful, be wise. Mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. And Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you,
Namo
Bhante. Thank you,
Buddhaya.
everyone.
Thank you, Bhante.
Everyone, have a good night.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
Safe
you.
travel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Safe trip.
So I don't know what's going to happen.